Hi guys, welcome back to Algebra 1. Today's lesson is over parallel and perpendicular lines. Students will understand what parallel means and how the slopes of parallel lines compare to one another. Students will understand what perpendicular means and how the slopes of perpendicular lines compare to one another. Let's first look at parallel lines. What is a parallel line? Parallel lines are lines that will never intersect. No matter how far you go on the graph, no matter where you check, they will always be the same distance apart. So we've got two parallel lines here. We've got a purple and a red. So let's go ahead and explore the slopes of each line to see if there's any trends that we notice about lines that are parallel. Let's start with the red line. We know that slope is rise over run. So let's use the graph and the 2 points that we found to calculate the rise and the run. So I count spaces and I see that the rise is -5 and the run is 7. And I fill in my slope. My slope is -5/7. Now I go ahead and I find the slope of the purple line. Between my 2 points I have a rise of -5 and a run of +7. So the slope of my purple line is also -5/7. This is going to be true of all parallel lines, that the slopes will always be the same if two lines are parallel. Perpendicular lines intersect. They actually intersect at a 90-degree angle. It makes a nice square corner. Let's explore the slope of each of these perpendicular lines and see if we can find any kind of a trend. So first we calculate the slope of the red line. Rise of 3, run of 4. We find that the slope of the red line is 3/4. Now we find the rise and run of the purple line. Rise is -8, run is 6. Reduce that, we get -4/3. So the slope of the second line, the purple line, is -4/3. So let's look at how these two slopes compare to each other now. So a few things that I notice is that one slope is positive and one slope is negative. I also noticed that both slopes involve the same numbers, 3 and 4, but I noticed that their position is reversed. In one, it's the numerator and denominator, and the other one it's in the opposite order, denominator and numerator. Well, when two things are different signs, we call that opposite, and when the numerator and denominator are reversed, we call that a reciprocal. And because this is going to be true of all perpendicular lines, we can say that the slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals of each other. Example 1. Find the equation of a line parallel to y is equal to 2x minus 6 that passes through the point 2, 4. So if we look at our equation, y equals 2x minus 6, we see that the slope is 2. Because the new line is going to be parallel, the slope will also be 2. So we take our equation y equals mx plus b, and we replace m with 2. Now we go ahead and we use the point that we're given, 2, 4. 2 is an x value, 4 is a y value, so we are going to replace x and y with their respective values. So I replace y with 4 and x with 2, and I get an equation with a single variable in it, b. I multiply the 2 and 2 together and I get 4. Then I move 4 to the left-hand side so that b is by itself, and I find that b is equal to 0. Now I can take that value and replace it in my equation and find the equation in slope-intercept form of a line that is parallel to 2x minus 6 that passes through the point 2, 4. And that equation is y is equal to 2x plus 0. Example 2. Find the equation of a line perpendicular to y is equal to 2x minus 6 that passes through the point 2, 4. So the old slope was 2, and remember we can make that into a fraction by doing 2 over 1. First thing we do is we change the sign, so the new slope is going to be negative. Then we reverse the order of the numerator and denominator, so we have 1 over 2. So the slope of the new line is -1/2. I replace m with -1/2 in the equation y equals mx plus b, and then I replace x and y with their respective values. I multiply negative 1/2 times 2, and I get negative 1. I get b all by itself on the right-hand side, and I find that b is equal to 5. So I take my equation, I replace b with 5, and I find the equation of a line that is perpendicular to 2x minus 6 that passes through the point 2, 4. And that equation is negative 1/2 x plus 5. So that's the end of the video. At this point, you should understand what parallel means and how the slopes of lines that are parallel compare to one another. You should also understand what perpendicular means and how the slopes of perpendicular lines compare to one another as well.